Peace, y'all. If you're in the New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut area on Sunday, December 3rd, come join us for Real Talk, the first ever Real Notes movie night. Real Talk is a live series where we'll be joined by rappers, producers, journalists, and other rap adjacent figures to screen a movie of their choice and speak on how it affects their art. For our first edition, I'll be joined by Florida rapper producer Nyante for a screening of the 1975 cult classic Coonskin. A brief interview charting his relationship with the movie and an audience Q&A will follow, and I'm dumb fucking hype about all of it. Nyante has released two projects this year, Dante's Inferno and Demon Muppy, via New York rapper producer Mike's label 10K. If you're in the area, come kick it with us on Sunday, December 3rd at Loudmouth BK in the heart of Bed-Stuy at 348 Marcus Garvey Boulevard. Doors open at 5:30 and the screening starts at 6:30 p.m. sharp. Please don't be late. Tickets are $13 and available via the Eventbrite link in the description. Come close out the year with the realest. Hope to catch y'all there. Love. What's good, y'all? My name is Dylan Green, and this is Real Notes, a space dedicated to blurring the cultural and artistic lines between rap and film. I'm here to chop it up with everyone from rappers and producers to journalists and video directors about their relationship to movies and how, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is New York rapper, producer, and instrumentalist Gabe Nandez. We spoke about Pusha, his relationship with the Pulp Fiction soundtrack, the pros and cons of modern-day cinema, the art and value of music videos, how being multi-lingual influences his writing style, making his 2019 album Diplomacy during one of the toughest moments of his life, and the creative process behind his latest project, HT3, produced entirely by Argov. Come fuck with us. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to Real Notes. It's almost wintertime, but it doesn't. No, what am I saying? It feels like it. It's cold. It finally happened. I'm about to this is this conversation I'm about to have with my man is the last thing I'm doing before it's time to make jalapeno chicken dip and not think about pilgrims, because that's not what this holiday means to me, and it's not what it should mean to anyone. But Dylan Green, CineMasai, got a lot of names, do a lot of shit outside, inside, all sides, out here. And I'm with somebody who's more out here than I could ever hope to be. This is a fucking international man of mystery, fucking rapper, producer, writer, poet, Rough Riders fan. He's not wearing the shirt right now, but I always think about you on the Ox cover with the fucking Rough Riders shirt and the goddamn you were in a Jets jacket in the video for that song where you're walking up the street, right? Yeah. Real New York shit. Fucking Gabe Nandez is here. Don't forget the apostrophe over the N. Fucking yeah, man. Gabe's here. HT3 Deluxe is out now. It's super fucking dope. My brother Gabe, thank you so much for being here, man. It means the fucking world.
Thanks, man. It's a pleasure to be here. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of the journalism. You know what I mean? So it's good. It's good to be here. Yeah.
Yeah, nah. The last time you and I talked on some professional shit was 2021 when Ox dropped. So it's been about 2 years since we did that. And you know, like you've done so much. I see you out all the time. You rap in 18 different languages, and it's never not impressive. You don't do it on this project, but we'll talk about that later. But you know, you're someone I've like always respected the way you put music together and the way your brain works and how you just like bring all these disparate sounds and cultures together. You know, like you're like a walking almanac on some shit, and I love that. You know,
Hit that, bro. I appreciate it, bro. Yes.
Yeah, nah, definitely. So yeah, nah, let me ask you the first question I ask everybody who comes on here, which is what's the last movie or TV show you watched that you had a strong opinion about?
The last thing I watched was I guess Pusher 3, because there's this Danish film series called Pusher. There's 3 of them. And I watched the first. This was like around the time we spoke. It was like, because I have a really hard time watching shit. But the last shit I watched third part of that film series because I watched all three back to back because I liked the first one so much. When I found out there were two more, I just ran it back. Like, got more, just ran it forward, I guess. But yeah.
So tell me what it's because like I feel like I've heard of Pusher before, but I've never watched it. So like, what's the whole deal with it?
It's basically like just an underworld flick, you know? Like the first one's about like this low level pusher and he fucks up the re-up and what's it called? Like on some, Guy Ritchie vibes, but not like copy paste. I actually don't know. It's early 2000s shit, but I don't know, what came first. But it's very much its own thing, and it's just yeah, I liked it because I suppose first and foremost I just related a lot to just that world. You know what I mean? Just the you
Mhm.
know. Just that world of just like just seedy kind of street shit, and then like the writing is great. The guy who the director is I think this is the guy who made fucking Sicario or some shit, Sicario or whatever. This Danish director. He's made some pretty
Oh,
like
word.
yeah,
I know
it's
who
like
you're talking about. Yeah,
Danish, right? I think.
I I, I think I couldn't tell you, but I think
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
that's his first shit. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 97.4% sure that's his first shit. But yeah, like so, like and each film is about different people. It's fucking cool, man. I really liked it. Them rather.
Where where can I find them? Because I am looking for stuff to run through over the course of the next like 4 or 5 days, and I will do that.
Yeah, where the fuck did I find it? It was such a long time ago. Just on the internet somewhere. I just pirated it,
Okay, yeah.
some website, and they'll have it. Yeah, some website, but yeah, man, that was it. I really have a hard time watching shit longer than like 5 fucking minutes, man. Like I just like I love film and I love cinema. And historically, I've watched a lot of films, but as of late, I have to be so fucking enthralled quick, or else I'm just like, I should do something else right now. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Yeah, nah. So you said that. So these are the last things you watched, and that was 2 years ago, basically.
like 2, 3 years ago. Yeah.
That's hardcore. I honestly, I kind of respect that. Like it's something's got to be like so special and like so crazy that you got to really, like like it's not like me. I'll watch anything at this point in my life. I'm so shameless. I just it could be good, bad. I'm just in it for the ride. But like that's I I res- I don't necessarily want to call it restraint because it just seems like it might be a focus thing for you because that's kind of what you're implying. But like, or is that what you're implying? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, no, that's pretty accurate. I mean, it's that, and it's also fundamentally the restraint almost isn't even like there because I'm just like holistically primordially, I don't know how you say that word, whatever. I'm primally like I'm just like it's like a rejection. Like my body's just like, or my mind or my spirit or everything is kind of just like just not feeding me. And I'm sure I could spend time and find something that
Yeah,
but I just don't. But it's many things in that medium have moved me over time. Like I feel like I did my like bid with that shit, and now not that I've watched every single classic movie on the fucking planet.
right. Yeah, I get it.
Like I get anxious, man. I just like, and I'm not an anxious person, so like, and, like anxious. I'm like, yo, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? I should be doing fucking A B C D E F G. You know what I mean? But. Uh, and I guess it's not just like the watching component. If anything more, it's just like the physical component of me just being static I'm just
Yeah, it's
like,
like be sitting still. Yeah, I feel it.
sitting still. This needs to be fucking sick. Like,
Yeah.
like it's very much a case by case thing. And then when I say this, I think I might have had to like sit through a movie last Christmas. No, not even. I got up and left. I was gonna say I sat through a movie with my family, but nah, I didn't. I was like 10 minutes in. I was like, yeah, fuck it out. This is whack.
Do you remember? Do you remember what movie it was? I'm so curious.
And it was like it was like some like contemporary like what the fuck was it? It was like some diamond. It was like some like crime movie, but it was like a comedy. There was an island involved. Who the fuck was in it? There was a lot of famous. Jude Law was in it, I think.
Oh, what it wasn't Glass Onion, was it? The Knives Out shit.
I think so. People are dying and shit, and like it's kind of funny. And
I mean, like that could be a lot of things because Jude Law wasn't. I don't think Jude Law was either way. Yeah.
it was like that board game Clue kind of vibes.
Oh,
like,
then yeah, it was Glass Onion. That was Glass Onion.
Like, this is fine, but I just can't. Like this is like, like
I get it. No, I get it. That's so funny because I also watched that with my family last year. My sister and I actually went to go see it. We went to go see it like when it was at the movies for like a week when they did that before they put it on Netflix. But yeah, like I get it. It's like as much as I liked it, it's definitely one of those like watch this with the family. It's like not super challenging, but it's like cute and funny. But like like it's definitely one of those that if you're not in the mood, I could. Like if I wasn't in the mood, I would just walk out too, because it's just like I don't need to be seeing this right now. So I get you.
Cinema right now, I really do feel like on as far as like general cinema goes, it's pretty much dead. You know what I mean? In terms of just like mainstream cinema, in terms of what we consider like a standard film. It's like just the most formulaic. I mean, there's different chambers and shit, like the stories are different, but ultimately like it just not that I was alive in the 80s, or I mean, you know what, to be fair, like maybe in the 80s with like people dropping action movies like every fucking 30 seconds, you could have said the same thing. It's not is dead is always kind of like a big blanket statement and kind of like maybe a cop out, so maybe it's not dead, but it's definitely suffering.
I would agree with that. Yeah,
like in terms of just like what they're dropping and pushing, so it's like I don't know, man. Like,
yeah, I get it. It's like we're definitely at a point. We're definitely at a point of stagnancy. I think there's a lot of cool stuff that still gets released because like it's not like there's nothing good out. It's just like we're just at a point now where there's like 2 or 3 houses that like have a formula, and it's just kind of. They just kind of run it into the ground. Like I'm a Marvel movie person. I like them. I know that's sacrilege to some people, but even I can admit that we're at a point now where it's like, okay, maybe there's too many of these. Like maybe we need to like chill and reassess and like reconsider what these things can be and how they can be. But then again, I also saw a movie this year like. There's this joint I saw called Sanctuary that's about this it's about this guy who like owns this multi-million-dollar company, and he has this relationship with this sex worker. He calls an escort, and he has like a script for her that she has to read before they get down. It like involves him being in the bathroom and her like stepping on him, and like the first 20 minutes of the movie is them like enacting this like super duper specific like kinky sex role play shit, and then it just turns into them having an argument where she's like blackmailing him, and it just turns into this whole thing about like the nature of love and like transactional sex and all this other shit. And as I'm leaving the theater, there's a couple in the back fucking like legit, like I'm leaving the theater as the movie ends, and like a woman is in this dude's lap, and they're like about to start something, and I'm like, yep, I'm out of here.
In Jersey?
New Jersey, yeah. I swear I can't make this up. I swear I'm like
Wow. I mean, that's a place to do it. They were all the way in the back.
They were all the way in the back, the literal last row.
Hey, I mean, shit.
And it's crazy because you could tell they didn't know the movie was about to end, because the movie ends, it's got like a really sudden ending. It's just like there's like one scene and then boom, credits. Like there's no there's no fade to black. So like you could tell they thought they had more time.
Holy shit. Damn.
And like to me, that's the magic of cinema right there. Like, but either way, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was super duper interesting. It's called Sanctuary. The guy who's, I forget the two people who in it aren't super famous. I think the guy was in David Cronenberg's son made this movie called Possessor from I think it's from 2020, maybe 2021. He was in that, but that's the only other thing I've ever seen him in. But he's it was interesting. It was interesting. It was like some like dark comedy type shit. One of those it's like a 2-person cast. 80% of the movie takes place in a hotel room. Like I like intimate dark comedy stuff like that. So that caught me. But there, like that's not the. I say all that to say that's not the prevalent mode of the movies right now.
Right.
And like it's like I said, there's treasure everywhere. Yeah. I watch damn near everything I can find at this point in my life, just because I like going to the movies. But we're definitely at a point of like we're at a point where it's time for a paradigm shift. I think like I could definitely stand to see more like like not necessarily stuff like Sanctuary, but just like I want people to take chances and risks. Like that'd be cool.
I feel that. No, absolutely. Well said. That's important in art, and it was such a powerful medium. It's like, just giving people the same thing. It's like, but yeah, it seems like the stimulation of thought seems to be like the antithesis or the opposite. What these houses are trying to get people to do. So
yeah, man.
But I feel you. That's everything you said.
Yeah. Felt, but now that I know that there was a period of time where you were going crazy, now we got to run it all the way back. What's the first movie experience you can remember having? It could be at the theater, it could be at your cousin's house. Like the first thing, it doesn't have to be the very first thing you ever experienced, but like the first thing that comes to mind for you.
Damn. Yeah, this definitely isn't the first. Movie, right? Not just visual shit. Movie.
It could, yeah. Whatever you want, honestly.
Okay, I'll go with movie just because I guess it makes more sense. Because I remember running like skate videos when I was like, my bro like showing me like skate videos and me being like, yo, this is sick when I was a kid. But that's not really like cinema. I remember like running Pulp Fiction, at like 13 in the crib, for the first time. I remember that because I had heard the soundtrack before because my parents had the soundtrack and used to play it in the crib. And then one day when I had a computer, like I grew up on the soundtrack of Pulp Fiction, like it always was in the crib playing. And then one day, when I was like 13, I discovered like LimeWire and shit. So I downloaded it and I watched it and I was like, whoa, sick. It was sick seeing it after knowing all the music.
Yeah. No, that's what. Yeah, like that's so many people's like I mean, like especially for people our age, like that's so many people's like first like, damn, this shit really like just like blew my mind open. Like just like the nonlinear storytelling and the fucking like all-star ensemble cast and just like Tarantino's whole thing. Like that was definitely my first big introduction to or it was either that or Inglourious Bastards, but and it's so crazy that your parents had the soundtrack. That's like I can't think of any friends' parents that I know who would be like playing the Pulp Fiction soundtrack just like on the regular. That's kind of loose. That's good. That's really cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's a good soundtrack. I just remember looking at the cover with Uma Thurman and just being like, "Yo, what the fuck is this?" I didn't even know what it was. I was like, "Is this
Right.
a band? Like this music is the shit." I thought it was all the same guy. I was like, "This is the best album ever."
That's hardcore. So by the soundtrack, you mean like the compilation of all the songs used in the movie, or like the score?
Yeah, like all the songs, like Chuck Berry. Who the fuck else
Yeah.
is on? I should
I,
know, but a bunch of
I
doo
know.
wop.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like Al Green, I think, is on the soundtrack.
Yeah. Fucking Cool and the Gang's on there.
Right. Right.
Oh man, it's so good. Like it's so good. It's just so good. Like he killed it. He really fucking killed it with that whole, um, with the whole package. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, nah, no, the movie's crazy, the soundtrack's crazy. You know what's funny? I didn't listen to I never listened to like the full soundtrack coming up, but when I first saw the movie, I was so blown by the scene where Samuel L. Jackson recites the Bible verse.
Mm.
That like on iTunes back when you could buy individual tracks and not just stream everything, you could like on the soundtrack they had the soundbite of him saying the goddamn Bible verse. And I'm not religious, I'm not spiritual, I'm none of that. But he made it sound so ill that I heard it and I was like, oh yeah, I would just listen to that. It was like in my library, and like it would like come on shuffle, and then it would just be and like to this day, that's the only Bible verse I know off rip. It's Ezekiel 25:7. I'm not gonna recite the whole thing right now, but I could, like that. So like if there's ever a period of time when somebody puts a gun to my head and asks me to quote a Bible verse, that's the one I'm quoting. I just know it. So I I I I appreciate Sam Jackson for putting me on.
That's hard. I think that verse is actually on the soundtrack too at some point. I think they put it on there. I could be wrong, but yeah, that's a crazy, that iconic. Yeah, just incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely on the soundtrack because I remember I bought it. Like I don't remember where on the soundtrack it is, but like I bought the song on
Off
the
that.
soundtrack, and it was just like okay, this is it was because like also I had like some semblance of a relationship with like Kool and the Gang and Al Green, so like I had already heard most of those songs. So like my dad was a big fan of all that stuff, so I just kind of it was just around the house anyway. But it was but I never. I want to do it now that you mentioned it, but I never took the time to like sit with the Pulp Fiction soundtrack because he saw it for the first time earlier this year, and I watched a bit of it with him, and it was just funny because I don't know why he had never seen it before, but he just never seen it before. So I'm just like watching him watch it, and like he's when they're at the scene when they're at Jack Rabbit Slim's, and he's just like, oh, that's who that waitress is supposed to be. Like she's Marilyn Monroe, he's Buddy Holly, whatever. And he's like going through all the references. It's because my dad's older. He's 78, so
Right.
so he was around for all of that shit. So it's always fun watching that type of stuff through his eyes, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. I feel like if I saw it today, I didn't even know there was a dude on there that's like, in reference to Buddy Holly. But I guess now as a 30-year-old, I would maybe catch that as opposed to the last time I saw it. I don't know. I was probably fucking 15. I didn't know who that was. Yeah, that's yeah.
So like as you get a little older and start to have some more life experiences, was there a movie that kind of stopped you in your tracks and really like connected with you on some like like in either like an emotional, intellectual, or artistic or
I really liked Apocalypse Now a lot. That's probably my favorite movie. But I mean, there's this French film you might have seen it. It's called La Haine. With
have I
wouldn't be surprised if you're a film buff. It's like in black and white. It's not like an old black and white movie, but it's like I don't know 2006 or some shit. I don't know if it's '06, but it's like this century. But it's it's a French film, but a lot of people in the U.S. have seen it. It's
Mm-hmm.
and it's about these kids from the hood in France, and just this day they have, this day and night they have, and I think like I remember seeing that movie and just putting all my friends on because a lot of my close friends are francophone and stuff, and like or and
Yeah.
both francophone too, but they're kind of like of both worlds, like here and like francophonie and just like France in general and stuff. And yeah, that movie is just like it's just a powerful fucking film about just like the realities of just yeah, just the classism and post-colonial, just I don't know, modern day life and in a place like France. And obviously through that one could just relate even if you're in the US or whatever. So that movie, I would say that film, because when I saw it and I put the homies on, like I'll never forget showing my friend that movie and him just being like he talked a lot. Like he was a very loud kid. And from the first scene, he just like didn't say for like the whole movie, and his mouth was kind of just like open the whole time. He was just like paralyzed, he was just like, whoa. You know what I mean? And like just seeing the homies react to it. So yeah, I would say that probably. That's the one that comes to mind, that comes to mind without having to think. I think about that film. Yeah.
That's so tough. So what's it called? Because like that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
How do I spell it? I gotta look it up real quick.
Yeah, in English, a lot of people say Lahane because it's LA and space HAINE.
Oh yeah, I seen this. Yeah, yeah. No, you were saying it and it sounded yeah, I seen this. This is from '95. Yeah, yeah. No, this shit is so tight. Vincent Cassel's in it. Yeah, this movie's great. This movie's
Crazy,
great.
crazy. Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
damn. So for me, this is a movie I must have seen around like the time I was like 50. It was I was either in high school or college. I can't remember when I first saw it, but yeah, nah, this movie's so fire. This is actually one I've been meaning to rewatch. I'm like you saying like it's about time you rewatch Pulp Fiction. Like this is one of those that it's been time that I because I watched this. And you ever see a movie called Gomorrah?
No, yeah, I heard of it, but I never saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very very similar, but it's all about like Italian mob kids versus
Right.
just like kids in France. And I remember seeing, I can't remember which one I watched first, but I watched Lahane and I watched Lahane and Gamora around the same time, and I always think about the two of them together because I mean like Gamora is way more intense to me. Like Gamora is a really fucked up movie. Like kids, I think about it in comparison to something like City of God, which is also really intense, and I love City of God, but like Gamora is just like it's just like children killing each other, and it's a lot. It's like children killing each other and grown adults killing kids, and it's a lot. But
Oh, is it also in black and white, or am I tripping?
what'd you say?
Is it also in black and white, or am I tripping for some reason?
Gamora? No, I don't think Gamora is in black and white. I could be wrong. Like I
Or
said, it's been forever since I've seen either of them. But I'm gonna figure that out and let you know because I'm
yeah, that
it's
sounds
about time I go back and revisit both of those. Yeah.
yeah. Um. Yeah. Yeah. No, that movie. Yeah. It's so relevant. It just stays so relevant as time goes on. I mean, obviously, it wasn't that long ago, but still. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because because it came out in '95, so it's been almost 30 years. That's super wild that we're at this point now where it's where stuff like that starting to just turn 30. Wild.
And shit is kind of stagnating. Right, in terms of like the issues that it tackles, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you know, the more things change, the more they stay the same and shit. But for you, let's do that with music now. So when did music become capital M music for you? When did it go from being like a passive thing in the background to you kind of being like, like music?
Yeah. I was 11. I was 11. I hit my parents. I was like, "Yo, can you guys buy me guitars? I want to learn." They're like, "Yeah, if you fucking play it, like yeah." They gave me a shot. They're like, "Yeah, cool, sure." Then they saw I was playing it, so they were like, they invested in it. Yeah. Then from that day, like I was, always the kid that played music. Gabe in middle school to now is just synonymous as that guy makes music. So.
That's cute. When did so like how long did it take you playing the guitar until you realized that like like when did or I mean like so like what why am I having such a hard time asking this question? Like when you started playing the guitar, how long did it take you to realize that this was a thing that you loved? Because it sounds like it just happened like instantaneously.
Yeah, like 5 minutes, not even. Probably, I couldn't like quantify it, but I think it even happened before. Like I used to just listen to like Rage Against the Machine in my bed at night with the lights off and like my CD player, and just like pretend like I was Zach and sing the lyrics to every song and just run the album front to back. So at that point, it's like I think it happened then, like it probably happened even before I played. Because when I picked up the guitar, I was like, "Yo, this shit is hard. I suck at this." But I was like, "I'm definitely gonna do this."
Oh, all right, cool. So that's when you knew you were all in. That's funny as hell. So when so what so when did you start rapping? When did it go from guitar to rapping?
Like when I was towards the end of being 15. That's kind of a weird sentence. Like when I was like 15, going on 16. That's when I like got into like you know, hip hop on a deeper level. Because before then, I wasn't really, I liked songs here and there, but I wasn't really listening to hip hop. So yeah, like yeah, 15 going on 16. I wrote my first rap when I was like 16. I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Damn, that's hardcore. 60, 16 is a good age for that. I don't know why, but I feel like most people, I mean, like there are some people who know they want to rap from like 7 or 8, but like I don't know, like 16 just feels like it's like a nice ripe age to get into writing and shit.
the sweet spot. 16's at 16. That's good right there. And then like yeah, I feel
Come
that.
on.
It's like yeah, I agree. There's something about it. It's just like
Yeah, nah.
there. It's like you're almost over adolescence, but it's not right. It's not 18. It's like 16. It's like, yeah, I feel that.
Definitely. So before we move on to you like making music proper, um, I mean like with rap or like with music and movies in general, like was there ever a period of time where you consciously noticed that these are two things that kind of complement one another? That could take on so many different forms, but like that could come in the form of like a needle drop on a soundtrack or like a song or like a music video giving you an image in your head. It doesn't have to be one of those two things, but just like a time when you notice those two things would make each other better or can make each other better.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I guess fundamentally what I peeped was like music really is, you know, um I would say the highest form of art in terms that, all other artistic mediums tend to need to like, incorporate it at some point to not all of them. Like you could go to a museum exhibit and look at a painting and there's no music, right? But like let's say let me stay in the realm of
Right.
cinema, you know, to enhance the actual film itself. Like that music is important or a part of it. Like that put in perspective just how vital um, music is. Because I guess I instinctively just analyze hierarchies a lot in just life. I don't know why, I just do. Because I guess because we see them in nature all over the place. So that. Um, um, Yeah, but then as far as music videos too, like you mentioned, like I can't think of one specifically, but yeah, I'll just never forget like sitting down watching MTV and shit. Like my sister used to watch that shit, and I would just come home from school, and she'd be knocking that
Yeah.
shit, and whoa, this is fucking crazy, you know what I mean? So like definitely like just even tapping into to that vehicle for self-expression, like bringing your and yeah, I've shot a lot of music videos. I love music. I love making music videos. I've worked really closely with different, some just directors, filmmakers. It's been like a big part of my um come up, or just like I don't even want to say like necessarily technique, because everybody makes music videos, but I've made a lot, and I've always for a quote unquote underground whatever rapper, like I've noticed that, and part of it is because I really value um that combination of mediums, and I think it's extremely powerful. So, and I'm kind of realizing that now, telling you that, not explaining this. Not that I hadn't realized that I have a lot of videos out, but just like I suppose that I just see it as such a necessity as a vehicle for self-expression and really getting a fucking point across. Like it just makes everything so clear. I don't know if that answers the question, but I think so.
I had no idea that music videos meant that much to you. I know you've made a ton of them, but I guess it makes sense considering that you've made a ton of them. But like why like just like elaborate on that a bit. Like why is the music video? And it's crazy you say that because I feel like people don't give a shit about music videos anymore. I mean, I do. I know you do, and like obviously people in general. Or I mean, like specifically people do, and like people still make videos, so they matter. But like, why do they matter to you specifically?
Yeah, I agree. I think people don't really have the attention span or care enough to watch anything past like fucking 30 seconds, me included. Like I was saying before, for fucking movies.
Right.
So, like, I have to be so enthralled to want to watch the thing. But I just yeah, like I was saying before, I guess I'm well, never, I was gonna say I guess I'm realizing this now, and it's partially true, but like I knew, but like I am definitely expanding on it as I go here. I just film is so powerful, and I just have like like it's also about resources. Like I've happened to, for some reason, bumped into a lot of people that are really good at really good the filmmakers, and that are eager to work. So it's like it's also partially resources. Like I have this at my disposal at my disposal. Why would I not capitalize on this? But also I just know that it's inherently just so powerful. Like I think James Hetfield from Metallica has said some shit about music videos where he was like, I think it was a negative thing though. He was like, I don't like music videos because they can fuck up the song for the person. Like the person listens to that song without the video, and they have their version, and then they have their vision, and then they see the video, and like it taints their perception of the song. I'm like, I could see that for some people. Generally speaking, I don't totally disagree or disagree. Ultimately, like, nobody's forcing anyone to watch the video. But on the
Right.
flip side, I, as an artist, can guide the perception of what I'm feeling, or like fucking trying to get across, or like, whatever. I could like drive it home even more. I could put in like occult references. I could do a lot of shit. So it's like, if you want to know more, it's just like more about me through another medium. So it's just like more information, basically.
Man, y'all can't see this, but I've been like pointing and nodding at Gabe for the last 30 seconds because like, damn, that's thank you for saying that, bro. It's like, because I'm like to the James Hetfield point, like there definitely are some songs where it doesn't, like there are some songs that don't work as well without their videos. Like the one that always comes to mind most recently is Kendrick's The Heart Part 5. Like that song by itself is pretty cool, but I think like the gimmick of the video with the whole like deep fake, oh, Kendrick looks like Will Smith and like Jussie Smollett and Nipsey Hussle shit. Like I get that the whole point is to have his face look like the person during the part of the song or whatever, but like by itself, the song doesn't work as well without the video. Like I've tried to listen to it and it just doesn't do it for me. Like I'm sure there are other people who get some shit out of it that I just don't. But like I think that's an example of a song that's so like attached to its video. It's like almost symbiotic, where like one can't really, not to say that it can't exist without the other, but like, like then again, kind of, like to your point, there have been several of your videos that I can think of in particular that, like you said, are really amplified, or like the songs are amplified by their videos. Like the one that always comes to mind for me is 223, because like and you're like, it's such a simple concept. It's literally just you walking through the street being filmed by somebody on like what I assume is like a handheld camera,
Yeah.
like like and like that because like that song to me has such like a homegrown champion, man of the people type vibe to it, and the video has that homegrown champion, man of the people type vibe to it, and they complement each other so perfectly. Like I can't imagine that video looking any other way, or like and it just works. So I think like I think there's definitely like credence to both arguments, but I love music videos. I love, like that's what this podcast is about, the intersection of, rap and film, like I just like, like between, like, I just like, like the possibilities of like giving a song a new meaning and a new context that can amplify it is like, that's, I don't know, that's really valuable to me. And I just like to watch shit. That's just like, that's my stem, like I like watching things. I like watching and experiencing things through visual mediums. That's my whole thing. So yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that like that. That's all that's all I'm trying to say, because that's the nut right there.
For sure. Yeah, I appreciate the response. I was glad to hear that. Yeah. Although people enjoying music videos might be a bit few and far now with the attention spans. That like there are people, and that's the thing. Like I always know, like for every like 100 people that probably are not gonna watch this fucking video, there'll be like 5 people that'll watch the whole thing and be like, dude, that was sick. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
ultimately, we do it because we do it. If I do it because like it's I do it because it's just what I do. But yeah, like it's like we gotta. It's a powerful tradition, and it would be a shame. I saw this fucking reel about some guy real quick where he was like,
yeah.
No point in making music videos because no one's gonna watch them. So just make like a 30-second clip of the song, and then just like, and everybody was like, it was like some like scammy IG account on how to get more traction, and it just came up on my shit. Fucking sad, you know what I mean? Like you're like fucking narrowing down the possibilities of your art for your audience. You know what I mean? Like because they can't pay, like and I don't know, but yeah, no, that was very well said. Yeah, I feel you.
I think like I think like there's a there's a decent amount of people who, I mean, like music videos still have a place, and I think there's like generally people's attention spans are kind of all over the place, but there's definitely still an audience for it. Like just like in the same way that there's an audience for like an hour and 40-minute podcast, there's definitely an audience for like a like there are still people like way up top too who also make like really elaborate, like super cool videos, and like it makes me happy to see that like I mean like labels aren't like really giving video budgets like that, but there are certain artists who will go out of their way to like throw something really elaborate together on some like Hype Williams shit. And it makes me really happy. And like even Hype Williams, like he made that. It was from a while ago at this point, but he made a video for Griselda for Dr. Birds from their big joint album, and like that was super dope to me. Like it just made me happy to see like Hype Williams do a thing with someone kind of new.
Dude, I don't know if is that the one? No, it's not. I was gonna ask if that was the one where Primo made the beat, but I don't think so. Right? That's a different song.
Yeah, no, that's they did one recently. It's Gun and Rome Streets. The three of them made a song together, and that video is crazy too. Like, and you know what and like that shit is literally just like them it's just them in a garage. Just like in these like nice ass coats, just like in a garage, just chilling, and like and like a video can just be that too.
Yeah,
like, I know that, and like I know there's like a whole crop of people who are like tired of like, oh, like I want videos to get more creative than just having it be like 6 niggas in front of a fucking car. Like, and like it can just be 6 niggas in front of a car, and that could be fine, like,
yeah, like, I get that statement of like, and I think you do too, of like the fucking generic rap video, not this gun video, like, the generic,
right, yeah.
We know, but so I guess that's what they were talking about. Maybe I can't speak for the person. In that case, I understand. But at least, yeah, I mean, listen, I'm all for it. I'm all for like more art, basically.
Yeah, big time. So on the art tip for you, Gabe, when did you you start playing guitar, you start rapping, and you start writing bars around 16. When do you know that music is going to become more than just a hobby for you? Like when do you know you're a lifer in this shit?
As soon as I started playing guitar, I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. I was like, because it was also around that age that I understood like capitalism and wage slavery and just the way society is. And I'm not doing this shit, dude. Fuck that. I mean, here I am. I have a job for now still. I've had many, it is many. I've had a few, but all that to say is that like the guitar became like a fucking, like obviously an instrument, but also like this like crystallization of my liberation. I was like, this thing is going to like, I'm gonna emancipate myself through this. And that's why I was like, yo, let me really, like, I played it religiously all through high school. And then when I started writing it, I was doing both pretty religiously, and then in university I was focused more on writing. To this day, I'm even a little bit more focused on writing. I can still play, but like right now writing is the focus. But yeah, it was like instantly. It was like fucking instantly. It was like, yeah, this is my I found my thing.
Right. Yeah, no, that's such an important feeling when you found your thing, like whether that's like specifically like guitar or just like music, but like before we move on to more stuff about the writing, have you ever released any guitar music? Like, do you play guitar on any of your projects at all? Because this is always something I've meant to ask you, and I'm finally glad that I could ask it now because I feel like you've done it like at least once. You had to have, right?
Yeah, I played guitar on one track on my first full length Diplomacy, and then I have this EP called Grove, where actually I played.
I remember Grove.
Yeah, so I played all that shit. All that is guitar basically. Played all that. There might be another track on Diplomacy I'm forgetting where I play guitar, but yes, the answer to the question. No once. Anyways, whatever. Yes, I have. Is the answer.
Gotcha. Yeah, nah. I'm mad you just mentioned Grove, and I asked like, have you ever played guitar? Because like clearly that's you, like, I'm.
You never know. You never know. It's a valid question.
Nah, but you're all in on music after guitar. You start writing, you start putting shit out. Like you release a handful of projects, and I've asked you this question before, but I'm really curious to hear your answer now. I mean, like, like obviously you rap in a bunch of different languages. You rap in English, you rap in French. I know there's more, and I'm blanking on the rest of them right now. But like like you've got to, like you're very worldly. You've been all over the world. You've lived all over the world, and I'm just always curious about like specifically talking about writing. How does being multilingual kind of factor into the way you write songs?
Yeah, I think first and foremost is based on the way the brain, I believe, just gets down. It's on a super first and foremost unconscious, subconscious plane, where it's just like the information from the other like tongues is like there, but it's like it's not hopping out at me necessarily when I'm writing. Because although I do write mostly in French, but not in English, I still predominantly for now write in English. But um, I remember talking about this actually. And I remember even last time it's having like a trouble isn't the word, but just having like encountering adversity, trying to like explain it properly because it really is on a very subconscious tip. But like, I'm trying to think without being in silence for too long.
No. I feel you. Real, real quick. I actually want to add something because I have something new to contribute now. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, like, I don't speak a ton of languages, but my sister does. My sister went to school for German studies. My sister's damn near fluent in German, but like my sister, like language is their whole thing. Like they're about to go to Poland sometime soon, and like they've been and like there was a period of time my sister knew Polish really well, and now they're like relearning Polish, and I'm just like my sister can speak. I'm trying to think of how many languages. So Joe speaks English, German, Polish, Spanish, French, and probably a couple other languages. And like occasionally there'll be periods of time where my sister will like explain to me how like one word in one language can encompass like an entire feeling, or like what would essentially be like a whole sentence in English. Like there's like one word to describe like a phenomenon that we just like we can't put into one word in English for whatever reason. And like that's always been super fascinating and interesting to me, especially as someone who doesn't speak a bunch of languages yet. There's a lot of languages I want to learn, but I just got to like find the time to like sit and really,
Right.
like it. But like I think like when I hear like when I hear you rap in French, for example, there's a like I just always find myself thinking like how many of these words is he saying right now that like encompass like a quarter of a verse. Like I like that like that might be kind of I just like I'm just always really fascinated by how like one word in one language can encompass a bunch of different words or characters or phrases in another language, and how that applies to music. Is that something you ever think about when you write?
In a way, yeah. In a way, because like in French, I would say I don't speak all the Romance languages, but in all the Romance languages, at least in terms of like that breadth, I don't know if fuck you pronounce that shit, but you know what I mean? Like in
Yeah,
terms of that dissonance between like one word meaning so many things, I feel like in the Romance languages, they're all like from the same tree. So in a sense, they're all
right.
close like that. So in French, there are words that, like, and I encounter this in French. I do. Like when I'm like, dude, how do I say this in English? Like I can't say it the same in French. But then like, yeah, like what you were talking about your I believe, did you say your sister?
My sister, yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, like in some languages I don't speak Arabic, but like, like shit like Arabic or African tongues, like it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
word for some shit that don't even exist for us. And that shit is crazy. I don't speak Kiswahili fluently, but I've lived in Tanzania. I didn't speak it much when I was there, but I went back on a trip recently, and when I came back, I was like, dude, I gotta learn. So I was taking classes. I stopped because it's too fucking busy. But in like Kiswahili, which I barely rapped in, but whatever, just for an anecdote. There's words that just like you're like, damn, we should have this in English. Like, like we just
Right.
not this feeling. And then it's interesting because it kind of lends to like, yeah, it just lends to the culture of like what we talk about and what we don't talk about, versus like a word that could be used to express a feeling that's maybe kind of like pushed to the side and like in Western, or like an alien concept to a Western society or something like that. But I would say it's on an unconscious tip first and foremost, and if anything, like the way like my being multilingual affects me writing is just in just the headspace of considering just like the worlds when I write, or just like
Right.
just like New York City necessarily, like type shit. Not that anybody else necessarily only does that, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think that's important, and that's what I think that's what makes something like diplomacy like as interesting a project as it is, because there's like so many different, because I mean like this is like still like beat music you're making essentially, but it's like like it's made of so many different elements and instruments, and like samples are being pulled from like these really wild places. Like I remember the first time I heard that project, and it was just like, I heard it, and then I had to go and sit for 20 minutes and just like digest it, like not it wasn't one of those things that I just like got immediately. Like it
Yeah.
was one that I really had to like sit with and think about like the different elements of it. And music doesn't always do that to, or let me take that back. Music does that to me very often, but like that was like I remember that first listening experience at Diplomacy, and I was like, damn, like this guy's different. Like this is, like I can't like I remember the push that project got, and hearing about it from Jeff and from other people. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm talking about Jeff Weiss, who owns Pow Recordings, Passion of the Weiss. He's the fucking man. We love Jeff,
Yeah.
always and forever. But yeah, like like I remember seeing you do press for that and being like, all right, I got to go tap in with this, and just
Yeah.
really had like that's like for anybody listening, like go, like like we're talking about like the world and shit, like go listen to Diplomacy. Like that sounds like the world filtered through rap music to me, like
That's like means a lot for you saying that. That shit was fucking so hard to make, man. It was, yeah. It was rough to make. It's so, yeah. Like that period between, I don't know, how old was I? I don't know, like mid-20s. I think a lot of people are going through like, boy to man or man to woman. Girl to
yeah.
woman, whatever the case may be. That like from like not childhood, but like early, late. You know what I mean? Like just growing up, basically. Like
Right. Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, no, it's deeply personal, political. I mean, the personal is political ultimately, but yeah, in terms of the sonic, yeah, that was definitely super intentional. Like let's pull from here, like India, fucking West Africa, here, there. But, yeah.
Yeah, nah, man, you got me. Yeah, no, you got me wanting to try to speak some. I can't even click my tongue right now. You got me wanting to speak some Osa. There we go. Got it. I had to make sure I did it right. But yeah.
I can't do that shit.
Yeah, nah, like that's a language I really want to learn one day. But yeah, nah, I think like the thing that's really dope about your music is that, or another thing that's really dope about your music is that you pride yourself on not making the same project twice, or at least not like like back to back on some shit. Like there's like Plax doesn't sound anything like Diplomacy, which doesn't sound anything like Click Tape, which doesn't sound like Ox, doesn't sound like Grove, and
Yeah.
like it doesn't sound like HT3, and like that's a really hard thing to do. That's a really hard thing to accomplish without sounding like a completely different artist every time, So like how do you find Gabe in all that? You know, like how do you like you know like how do you kind of keep yourself centered while you're, you know, like moving through these different styles? Because I can imagine that's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, I think, Jesus, I think it just fundamentally would have to stem from me growing up on a lot of different kind of music and always listening to a lot of like subgenres of rap, whether it's like some super mainstream shit or some not so mainstream shit. So I guess that keeps me in pocket to know how to like make, tap into different sonics without sounding out of pocket, because I'm not, basically, like, I'm not an intruder or like an imposter in different sonics. It's like they all feel, not that that's what's being alleged at all, right? Just,
Right.
that level of comfort just comes from my love for music, and just like my openness to different kinds of music. And then it just happens. I just pull up and I'm just like there. And you know, if ever I feel out of pocket with something, like, it would just never see the light of day, type of thing. And I ultimately, yeah, outside of just like my love for music and my very taste in music, it's just knowledge of self. I would say it's like just being so grounded as a human, that it's always gonna like seep through the music. Yeah, I would say, yeah.
Cool. Bless you. You cough or sneeze?
Off. I've been like on and off smoking, so yeah.
Damn. This is this is gonna be super generic cliche question, but I feel like it's appropriate after that answer you just gave. What do you feel is the most challenging project you've ever made? Like, what's one that like really kind of took it out of you, and like you look back on it now and it's like that shit was rough, but I'm happy I made it.
Yeah, diplomacy, hands down.
Yeah.
I had the concept for that album in 2016. Like, I was like working on it, but I was like full blown drug addict at that moment. Active addiction, whatever. And then I went to rehab. Then I left Canada. Then I got a record deal. All this shit happened. So it's like the concept of, it's like, when does an album or any project, like big undertakings, like where do they start, really? Does it start when you wrote the first two words, or does it start when you have the title, or does it start, when does it start? And that record was like
Right.
story of my life up to that point. So it's like, did it start in 2016, or did it start when I was 11? Did it start when I was born? So it's like, when I was,
Right.
like, I was sitting down and try to pretty much encapsulate my life up to that point. I was, sober, and I was learning how to write again, because I used to write. Drugs were a really big part of my writing process. I didn't have them anymore, so like I had to like learn how to write again, kind of, in a way. And I was like facing all this shit about myself that I never really like faced sober, and a bunch of shit that happened, like just like a fucking like rough time, And it took me a long time, and it was not. It was like kind of a bummer to make. Like, it wasn't fun to make. Like 90% of it sucked, but I'm really proud of it. And after that, I just got better as a writer. You know, Everything after that's been pretty fun.
I would hope so. Yeah, no, like that's a super, I mean, like all your music is really personal. And that's one thing I noticed too, is like after diplomacy, I started to notice, you kind of sprinkling more life details into like all of your music, and like really kind of like highlighting that in a way that I hadn't, or like that like I personally hadn't really noticed before. Like, I'm gonna go back to Ox again. Like, like a song like Clark is just like
Yeah.
that song is so hectic and so fast, but there's so much going on in that song. Like, you go into people's houses with baseball bats and being like out at 2 a.m, just like fucking zooted off of whatever. It's just like, like there's like I can hear, smell, taste, and touch that song. I was just listening to it before we hopped on, and like you know, like but like it flies by so quickly, you know, like it's so fast that, you know, you like I, you know, like even still, like I'm finding new things in that song that I didn't hear before, like new details that just like hit me, you know. And then listening to HT3 and the deluxe that just came out, you know, like I'm hearing even more of those details like in those songs. And here, you know, you've kind of closed the loop and just kind of, you're just like rhyming over loops and drums. You know, it's like very brass tacks, bread and butter type shit. And I guess why was now the right time for you to go back to that after all the different journeying you've done through the corners of rap music? Like I'm curious why now was the time for you to just go back to loops and drums.
Yeah, full circle. It just happened, you know? Like a lot of like, yeah, a lot of like being an independent musician or artist in any capacity, you can definitely, I'm sure it has, like a lot of it sometimes has to do with what you actually have access to and resources, and like
Facts.
what's next. Like, I don't know, what do I have in my email, or like who did I just meet, or like what's happening, type shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, I had always this kind of thing, to be honest, whenever I was making, because that's the school I come from traditionally, right? That's like the shit I love the most. And sometimes when I would make other shit, I had this like, you know, now that I'm 30, not so much, but in like, because I'm, you know, whatever, I just care less about what people think. I've always not been too hung up on it, but still, like, I care about people that I respect, like how they would interpret my art. I'm like, damn, am I gonna be like not, where do I fit by making some of the shit I make? Because some of it has pop sensibilities, but I'm always spitting. Anyways, whatever. So like,
Right.
this was a sentiment I'd had in the past. Um, Side note, I guess. But anyways, yeah, that was a side note. The way it happened really is I just finished where I was working on, which was whatever it was, and yeah, Argov had just sent me some beats, and he had sent me some beats, and I was like, cool. And then yeah, it really was just organic, but you know, like I just finally sat down and wrote to one of his beats after he had sent it, and it just happened. Like, I wrote the whole shit in like, I don't know, really quick, and then I wrote the other one, and I was like, all right, this is feeling right. And really, like, I had just gone through some like I was going through some like complicated shit with this person I really cared about, and you know, his music served as like the fuel for that, and it just came full circle. One day I had this drawing that I had made, which is now the cover, um, and I realized how it related to my very first project, which is Loops and Drums. And I kind of had this moment in my crib. I don't know if you've had these moments where like you just notice a cycle completing, like you notice it clearly. I've had it a few times in my life where I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh shit, this moment relates exactly to that moment. And
Yeah.
I sent
Often.
him, yeah, I sent him the 3 demos. I sent him the cover. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to do this. Let's make an album. He was like, yeah, let's go. I was like, so yeah, but now that I'm in this pocket, you know, I've worked on a lot of music that's to come after, and it's in that vein for now. That's where I'm sticking. That's where I'm being fulfilled. Because like when you're rapping on like production or whatever, I'm rapping on production with bigger bass and bigger drums, is like the swing of the music kind of informs the way you have to rap on it, in a way that like an open sample with like drums, you know, it's just not the same. So I can just showcase my dexterity at a level that I can't on other types of production, and that's really what I want to do, is really focus on like how how deeply I can express like my spirit to everybody, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, you know, as someone who also kind of, as someone who also found a lot of like love and fulfillment in like that like traditional quote unquote old school sound, you know, like I like that's, I get that, and I can hear that love and devotion's the wrong word, but like I can hear that passion like in this project. And before we even move on, yeah, shout out to fucking Argov, man. He's been going stupid for the last like 3 years. He's worked with a bunch of really dope people, and like obviously you being one of them. And like up until I was re-listening to this earlier today, I forgot that he produced this whole project.
Yeah.
And like he's just like the beats sound incredible. Like
Incredible.
they're so layered, and like the drums just hit. Like not that that's a thing that's necessary or like required to make a good rap song, but like when the drums hit, they hit. Like he's for real. Like he's someone who also kind of has. Like he has like a style, but like he, like everyone in our circles in the last like 5, 6, 7 years, like he's also dabbled in like drumless shit and just like more like atmospheric stuff. But it's like like it's really dope to see that he can jump back and forth between the two and just like make it tight. And like y'all, like y'all sound great together. Like this is like y'all should have been done this. Like honestly.
I'm so glad we did. He really blessed me, man. He sent me so much fucking music, and like it's a beautiful thing when like, the producer and I are on the exact same page. I'm always on the same page with everybody I work with, but like he was just he was down to make a fucking album, 100%, which was just like we were both super invested in it. And he's like, yo, this is the thing I'm the most proud of that I've made, and I feel the same ways. We're both super proud of it, and he's a great guy too. He's just a good dude. So yeah, it's definitely my most complete thing that I've made so far. And yeah, thanks to Argov, man, because like he just supplied me with shit that I really needed. Honestly, like I needed to write a lot during that period, and I might have gone crazy without these beats. I don't know. Not that I'm not crazy. Anyways, it's subjective, but
yeah, no, totally. But yeah, like y'all just like y'all sound so in sync on here, and it just like made me happy to see, like and then on top of that, for the deluxe to not feel like just the deluxe feels like a natural progression, and it's not just like, oh yeah, here's 2 extra songs.
yeah, no,
Like it yeah.
yeah, we're sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, not my fault. But yeah, like that's like deluxe. Like I like deluxe albums, but I have a lot of feelings about them. But I think that y'all made something that feels like a natural extension of this of the project that came before it, and I just think that's dope. That's all I have to say.
Word, thank you. No, I feel you. I feel the same. I'm like, it's because sometimes I see like a deluxe where it's like maybe a track or 2 or 3, and to me, I'm kind of like, all right. I mean, that's whatever, But like, yeah, this is definitely like a new project. Was kind of the idea. Was like, if anything, I was gonna drop it like that. Anyways, then we had a talk behind the scenes, and we were like, let's make the original, shorter. But technically, the deluxe is like the album as I intended it to be originally, but we decided to do it this way. Whatever. But thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm really fucking proud of it. I'm so happy it's out in the world. It's like I was really, 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 really like when the first one came out, I was like, the album's not out yet. Like I was like, until the deluxe is out, drop the album yet. So like I feel good now.
That's tight. I'm happy. Like I'm happy to hear that. Just like with the sequencing and the new cover, like I could tell that you put a lot of effort into that. And another thing I noticed that was really fun just for me is like there's a lot of POW affiliates on this project now, bro. Like like Chester's there. Archibald Slim's there. Brain Orchestra's there. Like it was it was only missing a handful of people before it would eventually just turned into a POW summit. Like all you would need is like Wi-Fi God on there, and it'd be the whole the whole Voltron. But
Yeah.
but like like you don't really do features like that. Like you have before, but like it's kind of rare that you like have hella features on an album. And like where do you kind of feel like they fit in on here, and was it just a coincidence that they all just so happened to be POW affiliates? I just thought that was funny.
Yeah. So initially, the first feature was like my homie Zay, who has a really long name. Zay Komapaga Ningoku. It's a very long name. It means an eye for an eye, tooth
Yeah,
for a tooth.
his verses were ill, by the way. Yeah.
That's yeah. He's like his spot. He spits strictly in French for now, as whoever heard the album does notice. But initially, I was kind of like, yo, let me just get him on this tape like 3 or 4 times on some Rain Ghost shit. You know what I mean? And that was gonna be it. And then we are like, you know what? Let's send this one joint to Chester because Chester is the fucking homie and he's the shit. And like, thematically, Chester's universe in terms of like, the occult or whatever the case may be, kind of just like different astral planes of consciousness shit he taps into. I was like, this fits with this record, which is named after Hermes Trismegistus, by the way, is what the HT stands for, old Greco-Egyptian sage who is said to have founded like theology. Anyway, so that was gonna be it. And then for the deluxe, most of the songs were already done, but I did make a few new ones. And so I was like, you know what, let's get some features. Like, I've been working with Archie, like we made some shit. First of all, Archie's like, dude, Archie's one of my favorite rappers like ever. Like Archie yeah, he's just wise. Like he just pulls up and his psalms, like I'm I don't know, I'm just always so impressed every time I hear him spit. So like we were working on shit for some other shit, and then I was like, yo, you wanna get on this? And then, Brain, I met him at my release show. So it's funny, actually both of them were at my release show. They both ended up on the album. But then it's kind of like what we were saying before. It's like it's also resources. It's like who do I know? I love collaborating with other rappers, but it's like it's just gotta like ideally we gotta like vibe. So it's like that can only happen organically. And I'm super blessed to have met MCs that I've in the last like I don't know 3 years I've had really good like rapport with, and this respect and this love, and I've been able to work with some of them. But I just felt like, yeah, ultimately like a long project, you want some features on that shit. It's like it's just nice for the story, and I'm just so fucking proud of it. Like the way Archie pulls up in the sequencing. Same with Brain. Oh, my boy Kojo, how could I forget?
Right, shout out to Kojo.
Kojo, that motherfucker is the secret weapon. That fucking kid he's one of my favorite rappers too. He's out of LaGrange. He's from the South. He's the shit. He's like not on the internet like that, but shout out to Kojo, man. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Kojo iced that shit. Great verse.
His voice is so crazy. Isn't it so crazy? When I heard his voice, I was like, what the fuck? And he's like this tall white kid with long hair. And I hit him up. I was like, bro, you're white. He's like, yeah, dude. Shout out to him. But yeah. So yeah.
That's hardcore, bro. I love that, and like it's just you're like I said before, you're rapping so much about like there's a lot of personal shit on here, a lot of just like you rapping just like just to like get some bars off on here, and it's a really nice mix. And you mentioned this before, or like we were just talking about the whole idea of like a project like Diplomacy, where you just like where that was really laborious in a lot of ways, but you're at a different point in your life. You seem way happier now.
Yeah.
And like just to kind of bring this convo full circle before I ask my last question, just like looking back on everything you've accomplished since Diplomacy, like how does it feel to be Gabe Nandez, like at this very second at 1:29 and 7 seconds on November 22nd, 2023?
Feels good, man. I can't complain, like yeah, it feels good, even in the grand scheme of things, even when things were pretty fucking bad, I tried to always remember that like they could always be worse, you know. So even back then, I was like, it's kind of right now, but like, you know, I have this and that and then right. And we take off the boxes and living in America. At the end of the day, we realize we have a lot, or not even just in America, in the West. I mean, you know, I was just like looking at fucking Gaza. You know, I can't stop thinking about that shit. You know, like I used to
Yeah,
live.
me either, bro.
Like it's fun, you know, we could be there right now. So it's like, grand scheme of things, I'm great. The music's going great. People are starting to connect with it, and that's great, you know. And like, I definitely see my hour approaching, you know, in whatever incarnation that'll be, based on just me having calculated moves and just good music to share ultimately. And I'm just very comfortable in, you know, with the my mission, which is ultimately to just make and share art, you know, at the end of the fucking day. Like, as long as I'm doing that, whatever happens is cool, yo. You know what I mean? It's like, and I've found a lot of peace in that. And yeah, you know, it's like all the people I love are pretty much safe and happy. So I'm good. I'm good, you know. Yeah.
Good things, bro. I'm really happy to hear that. And yeah, I didn't say it before, but I'm gonna say it now. You know, free Palestine, free Tigray, free Congo, free Haiti. There's a whole list of places that need to be free. And yeah, it's like it's a this is a really scary time to be alive for a lot of reasons. Like like being black, being a person of color, being any sort of other right now. It's spooky times out here right now. And being in a position where you can share art with people and have that connect with them, and whether they relate or it just gets people through the day, like that shit it's so valuable. And a lot of people don't see the value in creating and sharing art in a lot of ways. Like whether you're a musician or a writer or an actor or a content creator, it's just like whatever. Like there's people, just a lot of people, especially people who hold all the power, don't see the value in that. And that's scary. And like we see it, but like like we see it in people who listen to or read or watch or whatever, like they see it. But like that's a like not to be too over the top, but that's like a
Uh, uh,
that's like a revolutionary thing.
it
Like
is.
it's important. Like that's like a cultural necessity as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. So
Oh, you're right.
yeah.
That's the. Yeah. Yeah. Even like, you know, Argov lives in Tel Aviv. He's from there, and like, you know, we were gonna drop this deluxe, and I told him, I was like, "Yo, man, you know, like if you don't want to like share this shit, because you know, shit's hectic. I'm cool with it, you know." But we had a conversation before the deluxe came out, because he was like, "Yeah, you know, I'm be honest, I like kind of hesitated." This is after I told him this. Like, I kind of hesitated because of all the shit that's happening, and you know, like, are people going to be upset because we're talking about art? And he's like, "Yeah, me and the homies talked about it, and it's the opposite. It's like in times like these, like, you know, this is when you make sure you share whatever your contribution to the world is, you know, because we have journalists doing the like, you know, groundwork and you know, documenting the situation like that. But as artists, that's how we
Right.
sit. And we're like shamans in that sense. We're like, this is how we fight back. Art is powerful, music especially. So, yeah, I mean, you know, it's tricky to be this far away in these societies we're in and try to see how it is that we can help. I mean, you know, we can all have varying opinions on what help looks like in a situation like this from the citizens of the United States of America. But
True.
art helps, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it really is that simple. Art helps. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. But to tie this up, Gabe, if your life was a movie, what would it be about?
Holy shit. Like if, like if somebody else, like if I made it,
Whatever you want the answer to be. If somebody else made it, if you made it, you could even just be like, oh, my life's like John Wick. I don't know. Like it doesn't. Whatever, wherever it takes you. You know, there's no right or wrong answer to this question.
Right. That's a good question. I mean, I guess it'd have to be, you know, some kind of transformative journey about someone who we all go through shit in life, and we all, you know, have to overcome shit. So it's a very human theme. It's not like I'm like, you know, any different, but it would definitely be very fucking intense, violent, you know, to an extent, not like John Wick violent, but there would be violence.
Right.
There would be intense shit. But ultimately, there would be like, there's definitely going to be at least one girl. Probably, anyways, love, tragedy, you know, like despair, but ultimately emancipation. Ultimately, it's a happy ending. But like, there's like, it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like Berserk minus the really bad parts, and we already know the ending, and the ending is positive. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So like slightly more positive, slightly less violent Berserk. I like that answer a ton. I also forgot that you fuck with Berserk, and I think we talked about this last time we
Yeah, we
talked
did.
too. But that's incredible. I love that answer. I love that answer. See, I've been meaning to catch up on Berserk too. There's a couple of the movies that I want to watch, and I want to just like catch up on some of the yeah, like shout out to Berserk, because Berserk's amazing. Yeah.
Really, it's so great. It's so great.
God damn. Fucking Gabe. Thank you, son. This was
Yeah.
this was so great. It's always a pleasure talking to you. There's always so many nuggets of wisdom, and just, you know, just like your perspective is one that I've always really appreciated, and obviously the music's tight. So, you know, like it just means a lot to have you on my shit, and for you to, you know, just keep doing what you do. Yeah, thank you, bro, for real.
Yo, thank you, man. That means a lot. I'm glad you think so. That my perspective is valued. You know, yeah, it's a great conversation. I enjoyed that. As always, great questions. You know what I mean? Pleasure, absolute pleasure. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, nah, man, any fucking time, like for real.
Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.